What's up, guys? Ian here, bringing you the NCL Season 5 recap. Coach of your Lightning Lantern, of course. How could I forget that? Um, this was a reasonably disappointing season, so let me go through and recap it, I guess. Yeah, so let's start with the draft. If you've never seen one of these before, I go through the draft. I'll take you guys through the doc, and then we'll go through each team individually and what I thought about the games, and then we'll talk about the team postseason and what my thoughts were on the team, and you guys get a view at my all-time kills doc and stuff like that. So we got back wheel in the draft. I got 16th pick. I've never been 16th pick before. I've been like 14th in a 14-man draft, but never 16th in a 16-man draft. And with all the weird unbans, so you guys got to remember, right? We unbanned a bunch of weird stuff, right? Like Pheromosa, no items, no Quiver Dance. What else was there? Like Deoxys Speed, no Nasty Plot, or no Z moves or something. Yeah, Deoxys Speed, no Z moves. Uh, our normal ones, which are like Aegislash, no King's Shield, Eternal Floette. There was even some more broken stuff like Lunala, no Roost, no Z. So a lot of stuff went early, and then Daniel ended up picking before me, of course, because I was last, and he ended up picking Crocodile, round one for his Mono Intimidate team. So I got a really sick back wheel with Celesteela, Kyurem-Black. Two mons that I've used like extensively in the past. I definitely didn't use Kyurem-Black to as much of the potential as I wanted to this season, but Celesteela is just like an all-time MVP sort of mon for me, so I knew I could build really, really well around having Celesteela on the team, and I just wanted to get some like immediate power. And then on the second wheel, I ended up grabbing Mega Alakazam and Superior, both of which performed very, very well on the team. I think like this 4 was already really, really scary, and I ended up getting Rotom-Wash. Not ideal. I wanted Melodic actually, and I was going to grab an Electric somewhere else. Something like Jolteon as the Electric with Melodic. Like I would have grabbed Melodic Jolteon here, but instead I grabbed Rotom-Wash and Pilliswine. Um, Saving my tier 3 picks, but Pilliswine was definitely an MVP, so was Rotom-Wash. Both of them were really good defensively on the team. Sort of freed up Celesteela a little bit, but Celesteela ended up being pigeonholed quite a bit on this team into more of a defensive role. Just so happened that people couldn't break the defensive prowess of Celesteela anyways. Darmanitan I didn't bring as much as I wanted to. It's a huge threat in Gen 7. Wigglytuff I drafted and came to the back half of the season. I would have preferred a better fairy on this. What I should have done instead of taking Mega Alakazam, I think, was take a fairy Mega instead and work around that, or take like Mega Lopunny or something. There were options that I didn't consider in round 3 that I should have considered. I was taking Mega Alakazam for the speed, and the speed on this team just ended up being completely atrocious. So Wigglytuff was part of the factor of that, and basically the fact that I had a non-existent fairy, excuse me, pretty much a non-existent fairy all season sort of held me back a little bit. My record definitely will not show that, but I did get really lucky for most of the season. Drapion didn't stick around on the team, but it was definitely useful as a T-Spike absorber and a T-Spike setter, which my team really loved having T-Spikes, as well as a Pursuit Trapper. Just having a Dark type in general was a big plus on the team. Heracross sort of fit the same bill as Darmanitan, and I'm not entirely sure why I had it. I think mainly just as a fighting type. To break through fat normals was like pretty important for this team. Besides that, not really a reason. Excuse me, not really a reason to have Heracross on this team with Drapion. Didn't really make sense to have both of them together. So weird that I even took this, but I guess it kind of worked. Just as another Scarf option, I guess I just wanted more Scarf options. Not that I didn't already have them with Kyurem-Black, Darmanitan, Serp, but... and then Golurk, which was on the team but didn't end up staying. It was a tertiary rocker behind Pilliswine and Wigglytuff. And Pilliswine ended up carrying the majority of the rock's weight this season anyways, but Golurk was definitely solid for the couple weeks that I had it. So here's my doc. I designed the doc and stuff, so pretty cool there. Tier list and whatnots. We ended up finishing first in the standings for the 3rd season out of 5. No. Yeah. Yeah, I was first last season too. So I was first in season 2, season 4, and season 5. Excuse me. I had a 2-game lead on Hamu here. I was the only coach to hit double digits this season. There was a large middle of the pack, as you can see, between 4th and 14th. We're only separated by 2 wins. And in a 12-week season, that makes a large difference. We had a different relegation system this season. So Daniel and Nacho actually both auto-relegated with the last 2 records. And then Jed and Demons would have played for relegation, but there's some stuff going on with Blitzel and whatnot that I'll talk about. Actually, I guess I'll talk about it now a little bit. So Zach didn't want to play in the relegation match, or sorry, in the promotion match, even though he finished in like tied for 3rd, 4th. So there should have been a Blitzel 3rd place match, and then the 3rd place Blitzel would have been able to choose between Jed and Demons who they wanted to play, and the 4th place would have played the other one, aiming for promotion. But Zach didn't want to play Gen 7, so I canceled the 3rd place match, gave Kizu 3rd place, and then he didn't want to play for promotion either, so there wasn't really a fair way besides doing like a round robin between Jed, Demons, and Kizu, and they didn't really sound like they wanted to do that very much, so I ended up just leaving it how it is, and Kizu auto promotes alongside the 1st and 2nd seeds from Blitzel, which is Bronson and Pokefan, because there is someone leaving, and that someone is me. I guess I'll talk about it now instead of at the end. I didn't really think I was going to get to this until the end, but this was my final season in NCL, and it's kind of emotional for me a little bit because this is my baby league, but I've kind of just achieved all that I needed to. And if you're here, you've seen my whole season, so I will go and find you the all-times record doc and show you exactly what I mean. So this is brand new. Well, not brand new, but I did do a lot of work on this recently. So you can see the all-time records here. So this was our season this season. It's the 4th best record all time. Behind 2 other records from Blitzel, which is just not really that fair to judge, and K's record from season 3, which was just probably unbeatable, unless someone went 12-0. And then in season 1 and season 4, I'm down here with my records, which was really solid. And then my season 2 record is here. So I have some really good records, and just to show that a little bit more, I put this part together last night, and it's the player win stats sorted by win percentage. So Kizu made semifinals and has 12 out of 14 wins, which is really impressive. Amish 11 out of 13, same sort of thing. And then Fizzle has a lot of wins and is the only person to play multiple full seasons and not have double-digit losses, besides Joey, I guess. But this is like before divisions existed, right? So he was pretty dominant in a time where we didn't split Blitzel and Substrika. So you got to take it with a grain of salt because the skill level was probably not as high as it could have been for when other people were playing. But I have the second most amount of games played, 69. Nice, by the way. Second most games played behind Cade, and then Jed's down there with 63. So the difference between Jed, Cade, and I is playoff games, and Cade has played 1 more playoff game than me total, because he played in Season 3 playoffs, and I didn't make playoffs in Season 3. So we're the only 3 that have played all 5 seasons up to this point. Jed is down here with a 50.79 win rate. He's gone pretty much even over the bunch of seasons. Cade 47 and 23. He's been relatively consistent, but definitely not unbeatable. And then I'm actually sitting here with a 75% win rate at 52 and 17, which I think is pretty impressive. 5 more wins than Cade, despite him winning a title. I've done deeper playoff runs than he has. He's been knocked out in quarters. So I've made finals, semis, and not made playoffs. And he's made or he won once, he's made finals twice, semis once, quarters twice. So actually, it's about the same. It's about the same, but I've had more dominant regular seasons than he has. So basically, there's not a lot of people that can compete with me. It's pretty much just Cade in the regular season. Uh, there's pretty much not more to talk about than that. Like, this is one of the main reasons why I'm not coming back, is because I don't really think there's a challenge for me anymore. And it's not discrediting anybody, because I do think the competition level is a lot higher this season. It's just no one seemed to be on the same level as me. In previous seasons too, I felt that. Like last season, I really felt like I was one of the best in the league, and I'm just sort of realizing that it's maybe time for me to put an end to that. I'll X out of this now. Go back here. But all of those seasons and the fact that I can't win is just sort of disheartening. 5 seasons without a title, with how dominant I have been, is just, it's really sad to me. And I've been robbed in 2 semis games where I definitely should have made finals. Granted, I don't know if I would have won finals this season, but back in season 2, I was very confident, had I won that semis game, that I was going to win the whole thing. I've talked about that to death though, so I'm not going to elaborate on that anymore. But yeah, that's pretty much the reasons that I'm leaving. I want to step back and involve myself more. I'm taking an entire step back from Draft League in general. I'm pretty much only going to be playing in 3 leagues at a time max, for Gen 8 and onwards. One of those is going to be Hive, 100%. I promised KMJ that I'd be playing an MWPA, so I'll be playing an MWPA. And then the last one is up in the air at the moment for me. But I'm definitely taking a step back from NCL because I don't want it to be NCL. So I'm just going to be staying in the commissioner role, obviously, taking a wider aspect of things, hopefully maybe changing some things up. I'd planned on basically revamping, like creating a brand new dock and automating more of it for Season 6. I'm not sure how motivated I'll be for that, but potentially more stats and things of that nature. I may try to just automate this dock a little bit more, implement some things from other docks that I've seen that I can automate into this one. That's sort of the idea there. I don't actually know the winner yet. It's between Stu and Vandrel, so best of luck to both of them. Today is Saturday, November 23rd, and the deadline for these games is tomorrow, the 24th. So I'm sure we'll see both of the. I don't know either of the champions for Blitzel or Zebstrika, but I'm sure we'll see them battle it out tomorrow. It's pretty cool that it's the lowest 2 seeds. I mean, Stu was on a roll for most of the season, and then just like had a ton of losses in a row to end out the season. 4 losses in a row really set him back, and he almost didn't even make playoffs. So it's good for him. And Vanderl actually, 6-6, but she actually had dominant wins. Plus 18 differential. She wasn't losing very much, like by much, and she was dominant in her wins. They were large wins. I'm sure you guys remember our 5-0 loss to Vandrel back in week 10. So I wasn't going to be very confident in facing her in the playoffs either. It really feels like she just sort of knows the exact sets that I want to bring, and it's very frustrating. It's a lot like playing Hamu. And so luckily I don't have to deal with either of that next year. And then we'll just touch on the stats a little bit from the season. A little bit. So this is regular season stats. I ended up dropping Drapion and Golurk for Spiritomb and Ursaring. Ursaring didn't come that often. It only came to the one game against Jed where it got a kill. I think it was probably a decent threat, but I don't know about like tier 5 threats. I've had success with tier 5 threats in the past, and Ursaring just didn't feel like I could bring it to a lot of stuff just because of how slow it was. Like it's kind of just like a slow wall breaker, and I already had fast wall breakers, faster wall breakers in like Heracross, Darm, Alakazam, and Kyurem-Black, so it didn't really feel like it had a place on the team. Spiritomb, however, was really good in playoffs. It doesn't show with 1-1 in 2 games in the regular season, but Spiritomb was actually excellent in my quarterfinals match, and I'll touch on that, I guess, when I get to the team builder and stuff. But yeah, Rotom-Wash was dependable all season. Kyurem-Black sort of went even most of the time. It would like claim a kill, and then they'd have something to revenge kill it with. Celesteela was just nuts. It looked nigh unkillable, and there's a reason for that. I'll actually touch on this in a sec here, because I did win quite a few awards to clean up this season here. So, yeah, Celesteela won Defensive MVP and Best Gloomon this year, and then Heracross won 7th Man award, which is to a Mon that did a lot in like very little games. 7-1 in 3 games. I definitely think it was deserving. It kind of just fit the definition of the 7th Man award this season, so I'm glad that everyone voted for that, not just because it's my Mon, but because it fit the definition. And then I also won Coach of the Season, so I cleaned up with 4 awards out of 7. Nothing I really had was up for offensive MVP anyways, so Manaphy of Vandrill's team won that, and then Most Improved Coach was Stu. I wasn't even eligible for Most Improved Coach, but Stu definitely deserved it for sure. And then Untapped Potential Award, I had Kyurem-Black on there, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Jed's Mega Gallade, which ended up winning the award. It picked it up later on into the season, and like the last 2 weeks is where it got most of the kills. So I hope that says something, because I started awards at the beginning of week 11 to get like 10 weeks of awards, 10 weeks of stats in for Mons, and you can sort of tell what a Mon's going to do within 10 weeks. And then with the last 2 weeks, Mega Gallade picked up a lot more kills. So it looks better than it was actually, but it was pretty bad. It ended up pretty bad. I'm sorry, Jed. But it was not great. Yeah, so that's pretty much the team. I mean, it kind of lacked good rockers. Piloswine had a lot on its back this season, and it definitely excelled in the games that it came to. Mega Alakazam could have been more offensive. I wasn't very aggressive with it. In fact, I played a very safe season all season, and that's kind of just due to the nature of the team. I ended up with like maybe 1 or 2 win cons a game, and then like defensive checks pretty much with the rest of the team. So it ended up being a lot more defensive of a season, and that's probably why it was more consistent for me, is because I didn't have to make aggressive reads. I could play safe, but good players like Vandrill will pick on safe plays. You know, she brought the Pluck Honchkrow for Berry Rotom-Wash, which is exactly what I brought. So that's sort of what was a little bit depressing there. I don't remember what I've done in the past in terms of looking at this, but let's look at the kill leaders, I guess. My best thing here was Celesteela in 9th with 14 kills, of course. And then I didn't have anything until Kyurem-Black at 23rd with 9 kills. It was a really balanced season overall for me. Obviously with 11 wins, I managed to pick up, what is that, 6 times 11? And then the 1 from Vendrill's game. So 67 kills total. Excuse me, and it was spread out pretty well, you know. Heracross was down here with 7, but Piloswine also had 7 as a defensive Mon. Darmanitan got a kill a game. Celesteela was getting 14 kills. I think Mega Alakazam was pretty close to a kill a game, so it ended up doing pretty well for me. Nobody hit 20 this season, but Lunala was definitely a gigantic issue, especially considering it was almost a 2 kill a game pace. Tapu Koko, expected. Manaphy should not have been up there, probably. People just did not respect Manaphy much this season. Myself included, I think it got a kill or 2 against me because I didn't respect it. But lots of good new stuff up here, obviously. Lunala, Naganadel, Telepathy, Tapu Lele, Darkrai, all in the top 6. Mega Manectrix probably a little bit of a surprise to see there, and then nothing else is really that notable. Especially of the new stuff, nothing is really that notable. In fact, I'm looking down, and nothing even until 35 is other new things. So that's probably it for the doc here. I don't really need to cover anything more there. Okay, so let's go through each team now. So first up, I played Joey in week 1. And I brought a really defensive Celesteela. Scarf Darm and Specs Rotom because he didn't have a ground type at the time. Colbur Golurk for Hoopa, I think. And then I ran enough speed for Scarf Hoopa on Alakazam, which ended up winning me the game. Mega Medicham looked like a big problem. Joey had like... So let's look at his team, right? He had multiple options of speed control here. He had like Trick Room options with Jellicent Porygon. Tailwind options with the Torn Eye. So even though it was like a middling speed team, he had the options to go either speed and sort of just change the layout of the game, which was really scary. He brought Tailwind, Torn Eye, and Mega Medicham almost ran me, but I sacked a bunch of stuff in a timely manner, and I think Mega Alakazam won. I was just ICMZ KB, which just really did not have a switch in. Like, his switch-ins, ICMZ Kyurem-Black would just absolutely drop to Fusion Bolt. So I ran sub Hone Claws, Freeze Shock, Fusion Bolt. I don't actually think it did much this game. Definitely not nearly as much as Specs Rotom and Scarf Darm, which I kind of just like pivoted around. He had no answers to Volt Turn on this team at all, so I could just Volt Switch U-turn around, and I punished him quite heavily on that, I think. So that was a win for us. Week 2, we took on Demons and the Whippy Torcats. This was closer than it should have been. It actually should have been a 6-0, and it ended up not being a 6-0 because he crit something with Togedemaru, or he flinched my Celesteela to death with Togedemaru Iron Head, which was like super AIDS. But Serp was ready to clean the game. Kyurem-Black did some stuff. Piloswine, Darmanitan. I actually don't remember a lot of these teams, so this is probably not going to be that insightful. This was a long time ago. Like, this is August, and now it's November. So 3 months ago that I played this game, I don't actually remember pretty much anything about what this team did or what the purpose was. So if you're curious about that, feel free to go back and rewatch the game. Mike, I remember he brought Moxie Pyroar against me, and it scared me to death. But I won this game somehow. I don't really remember how. X-Repel Drapion was going to put in a bunch of work, and then it didn't. Scarf Kyurem, I mean, I brought Scarf Kyurem a lot. Rock Polish Golurk. I remember when I made these drops. I made the drops ahead of my game with Jed, so like right at the last second is when I ended up dropping Drapion. Drapion came to a lot of games. Came to 4 games. Golurk came to a couple. You know, I don't really want to recap all of this necessarily. It's going to take a while. So I know that's my normal thing, but I'm just not going to do it. Against Cade, I don't need this. Cade, we got kind of lucky. I full parried his Mew and beat him in a very close one. Megalop was just really annoying to deal with. I two-shot my entire team. I knew going into it that it was going to bring double priority for Mega Alakazam. That's just like knowledge from playing for 2 years of Gen 7. Like, it's pretty obvious that Megalop has to bring dual priority for Mega Alakazam, because otherwise it'll just die. But if it fake out quick attacks, then it kills. So that's pretty much all this one came down to. I can't remember anything else very special about this one. So we'll just move on. Week 5, we took on Nacho, and this one should have been really scary because Mega Steelix and Sand was actually like really problematic for my team, especially with like Thunderfang for Celesteela. It had a lot of tools to beat me. He brought like dual Scarf with Infernape Lele, I think, and I just outplayed it. The Zeraora wasn't really a big issue. I think Heracross ended up denting this team quite a bit. And something won. I don't remember what. Rotom, maybe? Mega Alakazam, maybe? I don't remember. I won the game, though. Necro, I got really lucky, which was good, because he lucked me in the game prior in PSS, so I did something and got some luck somewhere. Again, I don't remember. I'm really sorry, guys. This is like 2 months ago. Aaron, I remember being really scared of Nasty Plot Deoxys and Weakness Policy Aegislash, and somehow I played around that. I think Drapion was really good against the Deoxys speed, which ended up paying dividends for me. He brought like Z Rock Wrecker Rhyperior, which was just a giant problem. Mega Sceptile could have been an issue because it pivoted into Rotom-Wash almost perfectly every single time, but Kyurem-Black was pretty bork. Against Jed, this is where I picked up Spiritomb, and Spiritomb did some work there. Ursaring got a kill somewhere. I just spammed like Toxic against this team with Celesteela, and that was pretty much all I needed to do because he didn't bring a Gonadel. And I had the perfect Mega Gallade check with Spiritomb, so the pickups were really beneficial to me in this game. Against Vanderl, we got wiped by Honchkrow. I probably misplayed turn 2. She switched in Magneton on Kyurem-Black turn 1 after it was in against Mega Latios, and she sort of had to read if it was going to be Z-move or Scarf, and then the Magneton switched in, and what I should have done was just clicked Ice Beam, assuming she was going to switch out, but which is what she did. She switched out scouting the Earth Power to see if I wasn't locked in, and had I just kept clicking Ice Beam, she would have been under the impression I was still Scarfed, and I would have got fat damage on her Mega Latios, or on her Latios that hadn't Mega Evolved yet. It was regular Latios. I may have even killed it right off the bat. That would have been a fantastic start. I was baffled because I really thought that my Spiritomb, I was Combine Spiritomb in this game, and it could have done a lot of work in this game. But she brought, because I was like Mono Shadow Ball, and then she brought Silvally Normal, which was just like completely whack to me. I didn't understand why she brought Silvally Normal at all. It must have been like Z Parting Shot or something, because it just did not. It wasn't actually, because it was Z Lycanroc, or was it Life Orb Lycanroc? I can't remember anymore. I don't know. It was just like super whack. It was like she knew that I was going to bring the Combine Mono Shadow Ball set. It was so AIDS. Um, yeah, that was pretty much that game. She brought like a really bulky Manaphy to check Darm, and I needed Serp for it, and then I couldn't. I had to give up Serp against something. Super AIDS game. Just hated my life after that one. Week 10, we took on Shade. This was a game I did not deserve to win. This is where my luck came in handy, just like it did against Necro for whatever reason. He missed a Blaze Kick, with Genesect, and Heracross cleaned. Mega Absol's a really bad Pokemon, etc., etc. Week 11, we took on Gareth, and this was a pretty handy win. I had prepped really hard for this one, and I remember going off with Wigglytuff being my check to the Darkrai, and he didn't bring Registeel. It was also a really good switch into the, or it was a decent switch into the Mega Pidgeot. I don't recall too much of this. It was actually like only a month ago, but I don't recall too much of this game. So again, I've got a whole playlist, so you guys can check out all the matches if you want to see them again. And then Daniel, I just wiped the floor with him. Wigglytuff didn't even have to come out. Kyurem-Black put in a lot of work, and then I seem to remember Piloswine doing a lot. Pivoting around, I can't remember. I think Rotom-Wash ended the game or something. Quarterfinals, we took on Aaron. This was a very key match for Spiritomb. I probably should have lost this game. I overprepped hard for Ferrothorn and Zygarde, neither of which came. I was prepared for Pheromosa. Entei did more than it should have. I shouldn't have even bothered switching in Heracross on that, because Heracross was a really good winning condition for me. He brought like Assault Vest, Slowbro, and then Mega Diancie was also an issue. Probopass ended up coming for some reason, and it was like Z-move Probopass, but Spiritomb lived the Z-move. Got my berry off, and then I Foul Play killed it, and then I just like Foul Played the Slowbro to death at the end. It was way too close for comfort. I did not enjoy the feeling in this game. I played way too fast and hard, and I should have done other things instead. The Rotom Fan Brain didn't make any sense to me. It just felt really random. And then in semifinals, we played Stu, and I knew going in, and I talked about this in the team builder, that Rock Polish SD Dual Stab Z-move Cobalion would be a big issue for my team. It really didn't matter what variant of team I brought. It was going to be a problem to all 11 Pokemon on my team. So there's nothing I could have done there. The one thing I missed a Leech Seed, which ended up costing me the game, because that extra damage would have been enough. And then Scarf Kyurem-Black would have just cleaned up the game against his team. I had Iron Head for the Mimikyu that would have OHKO'd, Fusion Bolt for the Greninja and the Empoleon, which would have OHKO'd both of them at that stage. Any of the Donphan left, which would have just dropped to an Ice Beam, because Bolt Breaker or Terravolt goes through Disguise and Sturdy. So it really didn't matter what position I was in that game. He would have had to make a bunch of weird doubles, and I still would have had 3 Pokemon alive had I hit the Leech Seed and not missed it. I was very, very disappointed in this one. I felt absolutely robbed. I definitely felt like I had this game in the bag with Scarf Kyurem-Black in the back. And I also had another Scarfer that I had to sack to the Cobalion because he was adamant. I thought it was a roll with Jolly, and so I threw out Heracross thinking, you know, if he doesn't get the roll, then I can revenge kill his Cobalion. It was all bad. It was all bad. And I still could have killed the Cobalion and maybe had a chance at the game had I clicked Protect with Wigglytuff. I just thought it was like the freest SD in his life. I should have just clicked Protect. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought that he would value his Cobalion or something, or at least save it in the back for fodder and like switch out into something else that he could just get in for absolutely free. He had played very recklessly with Mimikyu all season by switching it into hits and like losing Disguise for free basically. So I thought that might have been his play as well, and Wigglytuff would have killed the Cobalion if he had gone for a setup move against me. Yeah, so that was all really bad. He made a really good play and caught my Rotom on the Z close combat that he just like blew into the Wigglytuff earlier. So I also could have probably just sacked my Wigglytuff there, gone Rotom afterwards, and Rotom would have been able to deal with the Cobalion at +2. but then I would have been out without my Gren check. So it was a really bad game, all because of a Leech Seed miss. It put me in a really bad position missing Leech Seed. But that's pretty much all it came down to. You know, I was 11-1 at the regular season, won a quarterfinals match barely by being super lucky, and then I got just absolutely blown out in semis. This was not the matchup that I wanted. It wasn't a great matchup, but he ended up not bringing the Mega Latios, Snorlax, or Zapdos, all of which I thought were big issues for me. I wasn't even expecting the Donphan, and that showed up for some reason just to set rocks. That's pretty much the story of this game. There wasn't really much to it than that. I prepped for the Magmortar, which I probably shouldn't have even bothered with, but he didn't bring his electric or his fire type, so this was super weird to me because it looked to me like Celesteela should have just walled most of what he brought. And like he didn't bring his ways to kill Celesteela reliably. You'd have to talk to Stu about this one realistically to find it out. I don't even care about asking him about this anymore because it's past it and he's got finals to deal with, but like it just felt really weird that he didn't bring anything to deal with Celesteela and still brought the Mimikyu even though he had nothing to do with Celesteela. It was very strange to me. It was completely reliant on Cobalion, and had I hit that Leech Seed, I would have won. That's pretty much all it came down to. I would have made finals again and whatever. But we didn't, and we lost, so I wouldn't make finals, but yeah. Okay, so let's run through the stats now. This is with my PSS season also updated because I'm done that now. I got frozen in the first 2 turns of my quarterfinals match there, and I just quit because I am like very, very done with Draft League. And getting frozen with I tried to set rocks turn 1, which would have been very beneficial, and I got frozen instead. And then I switched into my specially defensive bond and get frozen on that too. So I pretty much had no chance coming out of that game with relying on 20% rolls to thaw. So I just quit. And so yeah, this is updated with PSS, but technically the NCL season finished before PSS season. There's only one more league that I have, UTL, that's still running right now. It's technically week 12 right now, and then quarterfinals start next week. I finished first in the regular season there as well, 10-2 plus 31. I'm going to do a Gen 7 recap video, which is going to be long. And that might be the end of me doing YouTube videos at all. So it'll be sort of my end of Gen 7 and end of YouTube. So you'll see this again with UTL stats on it. But nothing will be highlighted. I'll go through each of these mons individually and the seasons I played and stuff. It's going to be a really long one. Mine, the Gen 7 recap, will be very, very long. But on this team, Darmanitan and Celesteela are up there now. I sort by total every time, and it doesn't change it. It doesn't account passive kills for some reason. So Celesteela should be my 3rd highest kills, but it's got 6 passive kills, so what can you do? Darm and Selly are both over a kill a game for me. Super impressive. I've won a title with Selly, not with Darm yet, even though I've drafted Darm more. Kyurem-Black, super solid mon for me as well. Over a kill a game, I like using Kyurem-Black as well. It's very fun for me to just sort of slap onto a team. And it has actually won a title. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. It won a title with me in UPBA Season 1. Mega Alakazam, I also enjoy. It's over a kill a game. I've only drafted it twice. Well, I've drafted it a 3rd time. It's on my UTL team as well. I really like Mega Alakazam. It's just like a super fun, fast threat. All 4 of these are very fun. I would 100% draft them again in the future. Serp, I don't have the best success with. In fact, it's generally been sort of a middle ground mon, but it offers so much utility to a team. On this team in particular, it offered me a lot of speed control, just given the speed tier and glare spam, which I abused heavily for most of the season. Golurk, I'm a giant fan of. Kill a game, mainly from my PTL Season 2 run, where I made finals there. Should have won that one as well, but oh well. It didn't perform on this team, but I would definitely draft Golurk again. Heracross, I've been getting better with. I wasn't super great with it, but now I'm getting better with it. I would probably draft Heracross again for sure. I haven't tried Mega Heracross yet either, and that's something I want to do. Drapion, I'm actually also a big fan of. It's not fantastic for me, but it offers a lot of utility. It's sort of really good as a Pursuit Trapper and a T-Spike setter. Rotom-Wash, I'm not generally the biggest fan of. I've talked in the past about not drafting it again after AABL Season 4, and then I drafted it 3 more times. I've sort of grown a little bit more into it as my love for Rotom Heat and Rotom Mow has gone down. My appreciation for Rotom-Wash has gone up. I still think that I would prefer Rotom-Frost of all of them, but Rotom-Frost doesn't have the defensive utility that Rotom-Wash, Heat, and Mow do. I've only used those 4 Rotom forms in draft. I haven't used regular Rotom, and I haven't used Rotom Fan before. Actually, no, I had Rotom Fan at one point, I think, and I dropped it for Rotom Frost. Pilliswine was 100% the MVP of this team. I've won 2 titles with it. I really thought I could bring a 3rd title to it. Pilliswine was just like, it was the glue that kept the team together. Celesteela won Best Gluemon, but no one would have voted for Pilliswine. Pilliswine was the Gluemon on the team. Spiritomb was just excellent. Absolutely excellent. I picked it up as a Mega Gallade check. It functioned extremely well in that. It picked up 3 kills in my quarterfinals match. I was a big fan of Spiritomb. 100% would draft that again. And then I think the last things are Wigglytuff and Ursaring. Yeah, that's it. So, Wigglytuff and Ursaring, both meh. Ursaring I would like to give another shot. Wigglytuff I would probably also like to give another shot. But I wasn't super thrilled with how Wigglytuff performed anyway, so I'm not really concerned about that. So that's pretty much that. I guess let's... No, I'll touch on the records and stuff later. And tournament stats. I've got other tabs on here, tournament stats and records. But we'll touch on that in the Gen 7 recap. So, I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed. You know, I'm not coming back to NCL. Well, to my knowledge, this next season I'm not coming back to NCL because I'm definitely not coming back to that one. But I may come back to future NCL seasons if I need to fill spots and things like that, if I don't feel confident in the abilities of people, or if I just want to come back and play more Draft League. I'm definitely trying to sort of get myself away from Draft League, move on from that a little bit more, spend more time with my IRL friends and dealing with my life in general, because I'm not really going anywhere and I'm 23, so I need to sort of take a step back from something that sort of commanded my weeks, and I would prioritize Draft League over other things, and that's why I was really good at scheduling, because I would prioritize this over doing anything else, and I'm trying to change that. So yeah, that's gonna be for me. I guess hopefully you guys enjoyed. A very disappointing season. You know, it was my best statistically. 11 wins has been my best. This is actually my best season ever in terms of wins, but very disappointing semifinals exit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys for my all-time, or like my Gen 7 recap video, I guess.